Welcome to the VBAC Homebirth Stories podcast, where we celebrate and share powerful VBAC homebirth stories to inspire and support mamas just like you. I'm your host, Ashley Winning, a VBAC homebirth advocate and mama of 3, and I believe every woman deserves to birth with confidence and trust in her body. In each episode, you'll hear real-life stories, expert insight, and encouragement to help you feel informed and empowered on your VBAC homebirth journey. Let's dive in. Hi, my loves. This is for anyone who's a birth worker, doula, midwife, whoever, who is working in the birth space, supporting women to have physiological births. I've been feeling a little isolated in the birth space lately. I have beautiful connections, but I felt like I wasn't feeling the same sort of birth philosophies that I feel. So when I go into a birth, I always think in my mind, what would we do at home? And so I bring those philosophies into the hospital when I do enter hospitals with clients. And I want to surround myself with other birth workers who feel the same as me, so we can talk about the things that happen in physiological births, which is so hard to achieve in a hospital system. So if you are feeling like you crave connection and you're feeling similar, you want to learn more about physiological birth, supporting women, you're currently supporting women either in person or virtually, and you feel like that sisterhood and you want to have people to connect with and ask questions to, I am launching a physiological birth workers circle, and I would love to have you come and join me, or join us, I suppose. All you have to do is send me a message. We're going to start in July, so feel free to message me, and if you want to save your spot, come and join us, and let's get this started. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Ashley, and today we have Barbara with us, who's going to be sharing her Breech Homebirth after Caesarean birth story. Barbara and I have been talking back and forth for a few months trying to get each other. We've had illnesses and reschedules, which is just like hashtag mum life, really, at the end of the day.
It really is, yes.
Yeah, this happens sometimes, and with resilience and persistence, we get there in the end. So
yes.
Thank you so much for coming on, Barbara. It's really nice to meet you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your story tonight. Please.
Thank you so much for facilitating this.
Oh, thank you. And you're in people can't see you, but you're in a beautiful, colourful jumper cardigan there, because it is getting quite cool now here.
It is, yes.
Yeah. And you've got a nice, big, beautiful smile on your face. But we would love to get to know you a little bit more. Please let us know who you are and where you are and anything you'd like to share.
Absolutely. So I was born in Chile. I moved to Australia about 10 years ago. And funnily enough, this cardigan was handmade by my grandma, and she gave it to me last year when I went to visit. Yeah.
Oh, that's very special. That's nice.
It's
nice that you got to go home.
Yeah. So I took at that point, my only child, and yes, definitely keen to go for another visit before my second turns 2, so we can take advantage of the tickets.
Because
see the extended family.
Yeah, they're a lot cheaper when they're younger, aren't they?
Mm-hmm, indeed.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. And whereabouts are you living now?
I live in Brisbane.
Oh, you're local, not too far away.
No, awesome. I live in Redcliffe, so I'm only like a 3-minute walk to the beach, which is fantastic, and I absolutely love it.
Beautiful. I have a friend up on the north side, and she's always trying to get me to move up there, but I'm a south side for lifer.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, you've got the nice bayside up there, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's get started on your first pregnancy. I'm interested to hear your story.
So my partner and I have been together for 7 years. We actually just turned 7 years like 2 days ago. And around the 3-4 year mark, we said, okay, do we want to have children? And we came to the decision that yes, we did. And we really planned for that pregnancy. So we set our savings goals that would allow both of us to take 6 months of work comfortably. And I started going to a GP just to make sure that all my blood levels were fine and nothing needed to be taken care of. So everything looked good. Once we reached our savings goal, we started trying and we got super lucky and got pregnant pretty much immediately. If it wasn't on the first try, it was on the second. So yeah, I didn't really have to go through the huddle of trying to get pregnant, which is always a blessing. And the pregnancy was super smooth. Like I had a really, really good pregnancy. And I really thank my lucky stars for that. I had no nausea, no morning sickness, no fatigue, like no JD, no pressure issues, like anything, like really low risk pregnancy. And I was feeling really good as well. I was exercising the whole time. I had the time, right? So yes. And in that sense, yeah, pregnancy was fantastic. I was also seeing a friend, she's an osteopath. So she was looking after me while doing the pregnancy. And yeah, that was really, really great in that sense. I am an engineer and I love information. Information is power. So as soon as I got pregnant, I went into deep dive research mode and I read everything that I could get my hands on. So I read 18 books. I read as many articles and that I could find. I listened to hours and hours of podcasts. And amongst all the information that I was finding, that I was reading, I was really drawn to a physiological birth. So previously, I didn't really. I had different varied experience from friends and people in my circle. So, for example, my mom had 3 C-sections. My best friend in Chile, she got pregnant. For her birth, as soon as she got the first contraction, she got an epidural, and then baby was out in like 3 pushes. So that was really easy for her. Then my partner's sister had a very complicated pregnancy. She did not have a good time. She had preeclampsia, so she had to be induced, and she ended up having a very, very medicalized birth. And then on another hand, one of my closest friends here had a beautiful physiological birth with no issues at all. So I knew a little bit of everything. But yes, the more I read, the more I was drawn to physiological birth for myself. And I hired a doula. So we did a hypnobirthing course with her. And
Can I ask you about Chile? I know a little bit about Brazil, but I don't know anything about Chile, and I'm just wondering what the birth situation is like over there. Do majority of women have vaginal births, or do majority have C-sections, or is it a
I
mixture?
don't know, because
Don't
by
know.
the time no, because when I left, I nobody in my circle had babies other than my friend, and yeah, it just wasn't that stage of life, I guess, for my
Yeah,
social. So I'm not 100% sure how the statistics are over there, and
yeah.
that's
I'll
probably
look
a
it
good
up.
question and something I'll need to look
Yeah,
at. Yeah.
I love to ask just because people come from different areas of the
Mhm.
world, and if I can learn anything from somebody
Mhm.
who may know the answers, otherwise I'll have to look it
Yeah.
up.
Yes, definitely. Um, I'm guessing it must not be so different than here because, as I mentioned, my mom had 3 C-sections, and this was like 30 years ago, right? Almost 40, actually. So yes, yeah.
I'm really keen to look it up. But what I'll do is I'll make a note and I'll look it up and I'll see if I can edit and put it in here for everyone. And if I don't, guys, you guys can Google it and find out the answers anyways.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
and Barbara actually looked up the rates of C-sections in Chile. She found in 2021 the rate of C-sections in Chile was 59%, with 49% in public hospitals and 73% in private hospitals. It sounds like you're an intellectual processor, you love the facts and the information, and then you know what you want to do, and you've hired a doula as well to be by your side. Yep.
Yes, I did. So we did a hypnobirthing course with her, and I was practicing meditation. I was doing like the hypnobirthing track, so I was like very mentally prepared for it. And yeah, as I said, the pregnancy was really low risk. I did GP share care, and I really loved my GP. She was fantastic. I had my 20-week scan, and morphology was looking fine, but they said that my placenta was low lying and that they wanted to check later on to just make sure that it had moved out. So they scheduled me for this scan of 32 weeks. And yeah, went to get the scan done. And they noticed that the baby was breech at that point. And this was kind of a funny thing because the ultrasound was on a Monday and I had a GP appointment the Friday prior, and my GP had said that baby was cephalic. And then I had the scan on Monday, baby was breech. And then on Wednesday, I had the midwife appointments at the hospital, and they also said that baby was cephalic. So I kind of like didn't worry about it too much. And yeah, I still did a little bit of research about breech just to kind of have like my bases covered. But yeah, since all medical professionals will tell me that baby was cephalic, I just trusted that. And yeah, we basically kept preparing for the birth. Everything was smooth sailing. At 39 plus 3, my waters broke. And the midwife has told me that if that was the case, I should go to the hospital just to get a temperature check and have a basis just to monitor for infections and whatnot. And since I live like 2 minutes from the hospital, that's what we did. I went there, and I guess because the midwife on shift saw the breech ultrasound, she asked to do a bedside ultrasound, and baby was breech. So that was, that was definitely a surprise for everyone. I wasn't contracting. My waters had just broken less than an hour ago. And before that, I was just fully expecting for them to tell me, okay, come back once you're back in active labor. But now that they'd done the ultrasound and it was breech, the hospital policy was C-sections. And that was something that I had learned from the prenatal classes that the hospital provided. So I obviously did not want that. And my partner and my doula, I asked for a medical to be transferred to another hospital nearby that I knew had a training for breech babies. And they couldn't do the transfer. I cannot remember exactly what was the problem, but the midwives gave me a copy of my patient file, and they said they cannot refuse care. If you show up, they cannot refuse care, which is kind of what we did. So we came back home. I had a shower. We relaxed, talked about a little bit about what was going on, and then we went to the other hospital. And the decision to do that was mostly because I didn't have a provider now anymore. I didn't have anyone to look after me. So it wasn't my birth plan was always just to stay at home as long as possible and labor at home until basically the last minute, especially considering, as I mentioned, that the hospital was literally 3 minutes drive, but now it was close to an hour drive. And I wasn't sure what was the situation going to be there. So yes, we drove over there. We ended up getting there obviously at midnight. Like it was like 3 a.m. or something along those lines. And the midwives and obstetrician over there, they did a check. They confirmed that my bodies were broken. And the obstetrician was saying, like, yes, we do work with breech babies, but mostly with moms that we've been working along this whole time, and we have information about them. And they really wanted to do an ultrasound just to make sure, like, the position and just tick all of their boxes, I guess. So since I wasn't contracting, they sent me to the maternity ward instead of the birth suite. That meant my doula had to go home because people not allowed to stay there. So my partner stayed with me, and we had to wait until the next morning for the ultrasound technician to arrive. We did the ultrasound. Baby was front breech, which was fantastic news because, like, that's easy, the best position for baby to be birthed. But they started with a lot of red tape because baby was measuring big, like close to 4 kilos or something along those lines. And the hospital policy was babies under 3.7 kilos. So they talked about all of the risk and blah, 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 and not really the risk. They just gave me this pamphlet with information about the policy more than anything else. And the biggest issue we had with the hospital was that when I spoke to the obstetricians, they had very little training or experience, I should say, with breech babies. So between the two of them had only assisted 4 births. And if the question was asked, if baby gets stuck and there's maneuvers needed, are you comfortable doing them? And they said no. So that gave me zero confidence to relax and go into birth mode, I guess. My partner was a bit unsure at this point because we talked about it a lot, about the physiological birth that I wanted. Like, he absolutely knew and was on board with it. Like, he was practicing with me and was on board with the choices. But now that the providers weren't sure about what was happening, plus he spoke with his mom, and his mom used to be a nurse, and she had 2 breech babies as well. And the first baby was a bit of a risky situation because baby did need maneuvers, and the people at the hospital were not trained for breech babies, so they didn't really know what to do. So it became a bit risky for both of them. So she wasn't comfortable with that, and that translated into him getting a bit scared as well. And that was something that I did not want in birth suite with me. I did not want his fear and his doubt, because he needed to be my rock. And yes, as much as I was confident in my body's ability to birth, and I had read Ina May Guide to Childbirth, so I knew like the outstanding on 4 position is kind of like the best idea for breech babies. But yeah, as I said, the biggest problem that I had was the providers were not giving me any confidence at all. So I just didn't feel safe, and that was the biggest block from us. So decided to do a C-section after almost 24 hours, I think. The doctors came in. They signed us, like they talked about us the risk. They gave us the papers to sign. And when they started covering the risk, that's when my partner first clicked on the sense of like, oh, this is not just like a quick surgery. This is a major surgery, and it's a huge procedure, and there's a lot of risk. And after they left, we spoke about it a bit more, and I was telling him like, and yeah, they didn't even cover the risk about future pregnancies, the risk for the baby, all of this myriad of things that they didn't talk about. They just talk about the surgery itself, nothing else. So yeah, that was kind of like, I knew all those things, but it's kind of sad that it's not talked about for other parents, that they don't know, they're not so informed. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing in that sense.
It sounds like you had some really great questions that you were asking them, and you were considering some really great things as well. And it sounds like you had a lot of space to think about those things, which is a very different story to what I hear a lot of the time. So you were like really educated and really understood, and, you know, were asking great questions, and, you know, it's so good to hear.
Yeah, I think it definitely. I think again, information is power, right? Like
Yeah.
the fact that I had done research definitely helped with that. And I think after the surgery, a huge part of the fact that I didn't have birth trauma was that it wasn't. It wasn't a procedure that was forced upon me. It was a procedure that I chose because I did not feel safe, and that was the biggest difference of all. And I did grieve. Like, I obviously grieved my birth because it wasn't what I wanted. And I felt so let down and disappointed by the hospital system. But birth trauma wasn't really a thing. So
Yeah. When you found out that the hospital that you transferred through to had some breech providers, were those people present, or was it just whoever was on at the time? Or were they the breech
so
providers?
technically everyone, all of them have the training.
Okay, so all of them had the training, and then it was a matter of like, asking them how comfortable they were with that procedure and how much experience they'd had with that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Really good questions to ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. Um, so yes, in my birth plan, I did have like a in case of C-section pod, and they went through all of the choices that I wanted. So I had asked for vaginal seedling, and they were happy to do that. I had asked for I cannot remember exactly what it was at the moment, but like whatever I asked for, they said yes, we can do this. So that was perfect. We got ready to go to the to theater, and I was amazed. Obviously, I was crying this whole time. um, the midwife that was getting me ready, she was really kind, and she told me like, you can't say no, right? You can't refuse this procedure. And I thought that was a fantastic thing to say. However, it didn't feel right for me at that point. So yes. Yeah, the surgery itself was super straightforward. Again, I think we were in and out of theater in less than 30 to 45 minutes, something along those lines. The people in theater were super respectful as well. They were informing me about everything that was happening. They were telling me in advance about what are they doing. The spinal tap was super straightforward as well. Like on the first try, no issues. And I don't remember if my partner ever had to leave my side or not, but he probably had to because of the way theater works. But I don't remember being it for long. Like I was with him the whole time in my head. Once baby was born, oh, sorry, I should say previous to that, the somebody asked for my phone and they put the playlist that I had prepared. So the playlist started going on, and there was this one song that I really wanted baby to be born. So I asked them to put that song on repeat. And music always makes everything better, right? So like my hopeless tears changed kind of immediately to joyful tears, and that was great. I was just like singing the song, and my partner was next to me and he was also crying. But now we're like excited about getting to meet our baby. So that was lovely. And somebody else asked for his phone or to take photos. So in that period of time, I have like 500 photos of the birth. So that was beautiful too. From the photos, I just say, I know from birth to baby be back on my chest was less than 7 minutes. So yeah, super straightforward. They put him on chest and then they roll us to recovery. He had a first feed, and eventually got moved to the maternity ward. The I kind of lost my train of thought. Yes, the recovery was really good as well. I did not need the strong painkillers. I refused the endone. I just coped with ibuprofen and Panadol, and that was more than enough. So it wasn't an issue at all. The breastfeeding, as I said, he had a first latch on whilst we were in the recovery ward, but afterwards, when we went in the maternity, he couldn't latch. He struggled so much, and during my research in pregnancy, I had done the Thomson method. So I was yes, I had prepared for like breastfeeding. I knew the golden 72 hours, and um, I immediately booked an appointment with a lactation consultant. So as soon as I noticed that he wasn't latching, I booked a consult, and I was able to speak with somebody the very next day. So the C-section was around 9:30, and I had an 9:30 p.m. Sorry, and the appointment with the lactation consultant was around 2 p.m. the next day. So yes, we.
Can I just ask you a question?
Mhm.
As I'm listening to you speak, it sounds to me like you felt very confident and it feels like it may have been quite powerful at times to have that knowledge. How were you feeling through this process, knowing this knowledge and like knowing that you could call an IBCLC and having that information, did it make you feel more empowered through that journey?
I think so. I think it wasn't yes, it wasn't hopeless, and it's like, he's not latching. What am I supposed to do now? And it was a bit disappointing, the fact that he wasn't latching, but I knew that I was trying as much as I could. And when the midwives, and there was a lot of people coming in and like trying to shove their nipple into his mouth and stuff like that, and I knew that wasn't gonna be helpful at all. So I think in my mind was just like, yeah, you're not actually helping it right now. So I am gonna go to the professionals that I know are gonna be able to give me the guidance that I need. So
Beautiful.
yes.
How big was your baby born, by the way?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that he was not big at all. He was 3.4 kilos.
Okay, yeah. Different, hey? Very different to that scan.
Oh, absolutely. And this is something that we were talking about with my partner as well, because ultrasounds on the third trimester are highly unreliable.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be, my ultrasound particularly was going to be even worse because I had no amniotic fluid for them to be able to read. So yes,
yeah. Did they explain that to you when they did the
they did not even consider it as a risk. Like when they were talking about the policy and saying that baby was big, and in my head I was like, we don't know that.
Yeah.
So, and I think the biggest issue is that in my head I knew all of these things, but I also was in my head about, I don't want to know these things because I need to go into birth mode. I need to let go of my thinking brain. And I think, as you said, like information can be really good, but it also can be a bit like a double-edged sword because I knew too much, you know?
Yeah. Did you go into labor throughout the process? Because you said you waited 24? Yeah.
Yeah, my contractions were super mild. I was not feeling them at all. I only knew I was contracting because the midwives put the CTG on me and they told me I was having contractions. Otherwise, no, nothing.
Did you ever consent to a VE through the process?
No, they didn't ask for one either.
Cool. All right. So now you've called your IBCLC, and where did you go from that point on?
So she advised that most likely the position meant that his neck was very tense and that's why he couldn't latch and suck. So she advised to go to an osteo. And luckily, I already had.
You're like, okay, great.
Exactly right. And so I called my friend, and she put me she made space for me the very next day, the very day that I was discharged. So we left the hospital Monday morning, and Monday afternoon we drove straight from the hospital to her clinic, basically. So yeah, she definitely did a little bit of work on him, and slowly and surely we were able to transition. So we started feeding a syringe feeding and cup feeding. Then he was able to do that with a nipple chill. And then from the nipple chill, we were able to do just like straight directly to nipple. And that took about 7 weeks. So yes, it was a process. It took a lot of like troubleshooting, a lot of tears, and not bad.
Termination from baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else. I was going to add that the hospital also provided a lactation consultant, and they came to see me, and they pretty much troubleshoot the same that the one from the Thompson method had said. So yeah, they said like it's the baby that's having trouble latching. Your positioning and all of that. It's good. But yes, we made it, and we had a beautiful journey up to 20 months when he self-weaned. And he self-weaned, I think that's because at that point I was 3 months pregnant and the hormones probably were like, nah, this is not good now, mom. So, yes. And that kind of broke my heart because when I got pregnant, I really had these visions of tandem feeding. So, yes, that obviously didn't happen, but oh well. And as I mentioned, the mental health during this postpartum was good because I had so much support from my partner, first of all. Like, as I said, we had the savings to both take the time off. So it wasn't like 2 weeks and then he went back to work. He stayed with me for 3 months. And then...
Good, isn't it?
yes, something
Yeah.
happened. He went back to work for 1 month, and then he quit his job and became a full-time parent, actually. So
Wow. That's like so intentional as well. You don't often hear like the intention behind like let's save so we can have this time together.
Mhm.
I love that so much, and I just would love like all new parents to hear that like pregnant, you know what, before you get pregnant, just taught in schools.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, right? Like, because as I said, our pregnancy was very planned, and not just the pregnancy itself. Like, how are we going to raise this child?
Yeah.
We sat down and we asked all the questions of what we wanted to do, how we wanted to form, what values we wanted to teach, and yes, like we did the hard work kind of thing. It wasn't just like let's have a baby. Like,
That's so
and
good. I love that.
I think that's also very part of me being like the way my brain works. So.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense. It's actually something that I've learned now working with couples as a doula in person. It's like these are the conversations that we need to have before you have
Mhm.
the baby, and these are some of the things that are going to happen. But
Mhm, mhm,
unfortunately, unless you have a brain like yours or you
mhm,
have been through the journey, we don't often think about those things.
mhm. That's exactly right. And I think a lot of the way we shape this conversation, it's because of the people around us, like
Mm,
taking from their experiences.
yeah,
Like I knew how difficult postpartum was for moms, and I was like, I don't want to do this alone. Like you need to be here with me. So
yeah,
yes.
I love that.
Uh,
So, was the next baby planned then?
yes,
Yes.
yes, she was. We wanted a 2.5 year gap. So we had this plan of trying to get pregnant around April last year. And surprise, surprise, January, I found out that I was pregnant. So it was a surprise. It was a twist on the plan, I guess.
Yes, came a bit sooner. Yeah,
Yeah. So it again, it was a surprise, but it was a plan. It wasn't impacting our plans anyway. So yes, the only issue that kind of we had with the fact that we got pregnant so earlier is that we had a snowboarding trip to Japan in February, and so that meant that I still went snowboarding without problems, but the fatigue was definitely a bit there. So didn't get to enjoy it as much as I would have liked to.
yeah, it makes it harder, doesn't it? Get
It
very
does.
tired in those early weeks.
Yeah. Um, Again, like the pregnancy was really good again. I wasn't so tired. I think the fatigue hit a little bit more this time. It wasn't like debilitating at all. It was just like meaning I need to go to bed earlier. That's it. Um, but I also attribute the fact that this pregnancy was a bit harder in the fact that pregnant with a toddler is a completely different story than pregnant with no like first
Yeah,
time pregnancy. So
yeah.
yes.
Can I ask you,
And,
before you got pregnant, what were your plans for the birth? Had you already decided what you
oh
were going
yes.
to do? Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, actually something I forgot to mention is that during the whole research that I had done during the first pregnancy, I was really, really interested in doing a home birth.
Mm,
However, by the point that I was like, you know what, I kind of want a home birth, and I started looking into it, I was already halfway my third trimester.
sure.
So I think the continuity of care wouldn't have applied that much there. So, and I because of that and the price, I just asked for, I didn't went to a private midwife, I went to a clinic of private midwives in the area,
Okay.
and I got an idea of the price and talked about it with my partner, and he was like, oh, not sure if I want to pay for this, for something that we can get for free.
Yeah.
And what a mistake.
Yeah.
What a
Yes.
mistake.
It's one of those things you don't know until you know it, hey? And then yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, and the fact that I went along with the let's just do the hospital there as we have planned is because I was feeling really prepared. I had a doula, you know, the whole lot. Like I was prepared to reject all the interventions they could have offered and whatnot. But yes, universe gives you curveballs the way they give you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And um And yes, so for the second birth, like I knew from the beginning, like even from before going to theater, I knew I was going to have a VBAC first of all. So,
Yes. Yeah.
and the day after the surgery, when the surgeon came to see me, he told me that my uterus was an odd shape, so I was a really good candidate for a VBAC, and that was like fantastic. That's the way we're doing it for the next baby.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got pregnant, and yes, I knew I wanted a home birth, and I spoke to my partner about it, and again, he wasn't like 100% on board.
Mm-hmm.
Not just about the home birth itself; it was just the financial aspect of it.
Yes. I find this very common for men, especially when it comes to home births or doulas as well. And then afterwards, what I find afterwards, and you can share when you get to the end of this story, I find that often the men are like the ones are like, oh, you should charge more. You're well worth your weight in gold. Definitely would pay for a home birth again. And it's like, but they don't know the value until they walk and actually experience that thing. So,
yes,
yeah.
agreed. So, yes, and I kind of put it on pause because we were gonna go on our holidays. So yes, kind of like I started researching for doulas because definitely I knew I wanted to have a doula.
Yeah.
And we went on holidays, came back, and I started going again on like research mode. And when I was looking for doulas, and the one that I had for my previous pregnancy had moved, so she wasn't like working in my area anymore. So yeah, I couldn't get in touch with her, and that's why I had to look for other people. And kind of like the more I started looking for people, I was like, you know what? No, like I really, really want a home birth. This is what I want. So my partner and I watched the Born at Home documentary, and that changed everything. So,
Yeah, that's good. I'm so glad that it changed it for you guys.
Yes.
Such a good one.
It is such a beautiful documentary. It is indeed. And I was crying. I was like in tears the whole time. And I think that kind of like portrayed to him how important that was to me. And it was like, okay, we'll do this. Something else that I think he didn't quite that gave the green light is the fact that he thought if I wanted a home birth, I would also want a doula. And I told him, like, no, like if we do the home birth, I understand obviously we cannot really afford a doula. So you have to be my doula. You need to do all the research. You're gonna have to be there for me. So yes, that's what we did. So started looking into midwives and call pretty much, I don't know how many, but yeah, call a few, and obviously chose the one that I felt most comfortable with. The first question that I asked all of them was like, how comfortable will you be with a breech birth? Because it can happen again. And yeah, so during the...
How did they respond? What was the kind of consensus from everyone?
They were all on board with it. They all said like no issues at all. Yeah, we have the training. I found out that it's actually mandatory for them to do breech training every 2 years or something along those lines.
Oh,
yes.
So interesting, because we're in the same location, obviously. So I know a lot of the local midwives, and I recently was calling midwives for myself for a future pregnancy, and all of them pretty much were happy with breech. And so it's just, this was not a thing like a few years ago. Like, this is like a new thing, and I just want people to know that there are people out there who are trained and confident, or willing to do this, and they probably, I think, by the sound of it, those are some of the midwives have more experience than the obstetricians in hospital for breech.
Yes,
sadly, yeah.
Yes, and it's kind of a sad statistic because they don't tell the hospital that the baby were breech.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it doesn't get the rep that it should, I guess.
Yeah, yes. Okay. That's so interesting. Yeah. So when you asked the midwife that you decided to go with, if they were comfortable and confident, did you ask them like how many breech they'd done before, or were you just happy they were confident?
I cannot actually remember if I asked the question or not, but like the answer she gave me, yeah, led me to be very happy with her. So
yeah, beautiful.
And yes, we had the 13-week ultrasound.
Yes.
And yeah, scan was good. And the technician did it's something that was really scary. So the technician like, yeah, baby's looking good, but said that the placenta was low lying. That wasn't a problem again. Knew that it doesn't move up, like the uterus grows, so that's fine. But she said that it was very close to the scar, and she raised immediately the risk of accreta or precreta, I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
And that obviously like fires so many alarm bells on my brain, because that was the only thing that could derail a VBAC and mandatory mean a C-section. So yes, again, because of me, I went into panic mode and I started researching so many things, and like I went crazy with it. And luckily, the next day we had the first appointment face to face with the midwife.
Yes.
And the results were so quick. Like she already had the results, so she was able to put my mind at ease. And she said that the report was saying nothing at all. The technician was just talking offhand, which was so scary.
Yeah. Yes. It does put you in crisis mode, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah. It really does. And yeah, I remember telling my partner the statistics of how like 50 years ago, it was like 1 in 30,000 or something ridiculous, great, big, like almost impossible like that. Yeah. And now it's 1 in every 250 women. So it's just because of the increase of C-section, it's
well, they don't tell you that when you go in for your C-section.
No, they don't.
So that's really good that you had that. It was luck, I suppose, that you had the midwife appointment the next day. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of these midwives, is that you can message them or call them when you're in the middle of a crisis. Yes. And then put your mind at ease. Yes. Same with the doula, but yeah, it's so good to, oh, okay, cool. We don't have to stress now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Then again, pregnancy, super straightforward, no issues at all. Again, luckily, no nausea, no morning sickness. Fatigue definitely hit a bit stronger this time, as I mentioned before. But yeah, every appointment that we have with the midwives, we obviously would discuss a lot of different things. And because of my previous birth, we talked a lot about breech birth as well. So I knew she would tell me everything that would happen during a breech birth. And yes, just kind of like in conversation, not really because we were preparing for it, but just because you can actually have to talk to those things with your midwives. And yes, we got to 37 weeks, and I was 37 plus 4 or something along those lines. And I should say that 36 weeks, we met with a second midwife, and I had a birth photographer as well. So all 3 of us met, and we discussed the birth plan. And yeah, we talked about everything that kind of, what are my choices? What do we want to do? And I love how like informed and empowered that makes you feel as well, because they do present you with every single scenario. It's not just like, we'll just figure it out as it happens, right? They are able to provide all that information. Then during the my check at 37 weeks, midwife we're talking about how I was most likely going to go to 41 weeks, and that my waters most likely would not break again first, because that only happens to like 10% of women. So it's just really random. And
that's so interesting about the 41 thing, when your waters broke at 39 last time.
Yeah.
Was it more of getting your mindset into like, let's get your mindset that this can be a longer game?
A long trend, yes. Yes, I think so.
That makes sense.
And this was a Thursday morning, and the Friday we were going to go for a little baby moon, and I had scheduled a maternity photo shoot as well.
Okay.
But because universe has different plans, my waters broke that night.
Yes. And how many weeks did you say you were?
I was 37 plus 4, I think, or 5. Yes.
Right before the baby moon, when you're just about to go away and have that, yeah.
Yeah.
Difficult, isn't it?
So I remember waking up around 1 a.m. or something, and like I needed to go to the toilet. So as soon as I got to the toilet, big gush of water.
Yeah.
And yeah, I put a pad and went back to sleep. 40 minutes later, I was up again, another big gush of water. And that's when I called the midwife and told her, like, guess what? So, yes, this is happening. I just went and sat down on the couch and started listening to my hypnobirthing tracks and was just relaxing. I actually did start contracting relatively. Yes, I started contracting, which was a different experience from the first time. They were so mild, though. Like I just could tell, like my tummy was just tightening up.
Yeah.
And my partner wakes up with my toddler around 6 a.m. and I tell him, like, I got good news and bad news. So the bad news is that we're not going on holidays. The good news is we're going to get to meet our girl soon. So
Yeah.
we started preparing. We set up the birth pool. I already had like the fairy lights on the space, and I had the birth affirmations that I actually got from your website. So thank you for
Awesome.
them.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, I had we set up the space, and I went and have a shower and had started really big contraction in the shower. But then as soon as I came out and sat down on the couch again, it just dissipated. And most likely because sun came out. And um, yeah, I asked my parents. They actually live in a granny flat in my house. So I asked my parents to look after the toddler. And I just spent the whole day with the curtains down, just watching fun TV shows and trying to get those oxytocin levels as high as possible. The midwife came in and checked. Yeah, blood pressure, heartbeat was all looking good. And we talked a lot about the risk of prom. So, what would happen? What are the things that we need to be aware of? And that I would most likely go into full labor that night. So I think one of the statistics that really stuck with me was the fact that 60 to 70% of women go into labor within 24 hours, and 95% of women go into labor within 72 hours after rupturing their waters.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So
I've had a few of my clients have their waters break, and I'm starting to question whether this 10% thing is a real thing because I'm seeing it so much. And I had it myself, and my mother had it, and then I have a girlfriend who had it, and all of her babies. And I'm thinking, I don't know about this 10% thing.
yeah, right. Funnily enough, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah, stated as peace of mind and collected as possible. The contractions during the day were kind of like every 40 minutes to an hour, and just like, yeah, nothing that would stop me at all.
Yeah.
So nighttime comes and I try to go to sleep, but obviously because the contraction now had started ramping up, I couldn't really sleep. So again, I just went out to the couch and I put the TENS machine on. I had a birth sling, so I was just like hanging on the birth sling, having the TENS and listening to the audio tracks again. Had a super chill night. The contractions stayed consistent during the night, so they never intensified and they never like got closer together. So they were only every 10 to 20 minutes or something like that. And again, extremely manageable. Nothing that was that I couldn't breathe out. Comes morning the next day, and this is Saturday morning now. Midwife comes again. She checks on me, blood pressure, baby's heart rate. She starts palping my belly, and I see it in her face, and she's like, "Oh, something's different." And she tells, and after finishing, she says, I believe baby is breech, and that was the first time that she noticed that, because previously during the whole pregnancy, whenever she would palpate my belly, she would try to give me peace of mind and give me confidence that baby was cephalic, because she said like, I can move the head here, I can move the bum here, and yes. Um, Something I guess I should mention as well is that it do seem to have a little bit more of amniotic fluid, because my waters kept breaking for the 3 days, and um, the my placentas are anterior, so I think that also makes it a bit more difficult to feel the baby's position.
Yes. So with the water, it can regenerate. So the more that,
Well, that's true.
yeah, you're drinking water, I always say to my women I work with, like, just drink plenty of fluids, because it regenerates and it just goes through. So,
Mhm.
and it has to come out because it's all been broken. The waters and the membranes are broken now. So,
Mhm.
and it is different having an anterior. I've had 2 anteriors and one posterior, and yeah, you can't feel as much, and it's probably a little
Mhm.
bit harder when you've got all that juicy placenta at the front there, trying to feel
Yeah.
everything.
Yes. So yeah, she tells me that she thinks baby is breech,
Yeah,
but she's not 100% sure.
yeah,
So we talked about what that means. And again, it wasn't anything new, because it was things that we had already discussed in all of our previous appointments. So she explained the maneuvers that she would have to do. She explained that she would probably have Queensland Emergency Services out the door, just waiting in case baby needed more air than the ones that they already had in their oxygen tanks. Um, and yeah, that she would also need to ask me if I wanted to do, she confirmed if I wanted to transfer to the hospital or not. So I decided no, we continue as normal. So we continue with the plan, and again, hoping for labor that night. So, Saturday night arrives, and my contractions again ramped up quite from the day. They were more frequent now, so they were actually every 4 minutes, and they were lasting the 60 seconds, but they were very manageable. I wasn't needing anything other than just a big deep breath and the TENS machine. I did call the midwife and the birth photographer, because the midwife called and she could hear me contract, and we had like, again, like 3 contractions in a 10-minute period. So she's like, no, probably we should come to you. So we had everything ready. We actually put the water in the birth suite this time, in the birth pool, not birth suite. And had the music playing, just chilling. Around 4 a.m., nothing was changing. So contractions actually started dissipating. So the midwife started suggesting some exercises and position changes. So we went up and down the stairs. We did some squats. We did some lunges. She tried to get me to go to sleep. I tried to sleep, but wasn't really sleeping. So around 6:30 a.m. came out, and like the contractions were fully gone at that point. So the birth photographer went home, and the midwife and I started speaking, and she suggested a vaginal exam at this point, just to confirm birth disposition mostly. So yes, we did the exam. She mentioned that I was like 3 or 4 centimeters dilated, and that was fantastic news. Like, yeah, my body's doing what it needs to do. It's just taking its sweet time. But she tried to confirm the position of the baby, and she couldn't like be 100% sure, but she told me that she was 98% sure that the baby was breech. So she prescribed I think it's melatonin and some like a painkiller, so that I could actually get some rest, because she thought that the reason why I was in labor is because my body needed the rest, because that was been 3 nights now that I hadn't slept. So tried
You
to
would have
do
been
that.
exhausted, wouldn't you?
But that's the thing, I wasn't. I really wasn't.
I wonder if you had like adrenaline or something kicking in to like keep you going.
Probably. It just felt so relaxed. And I think that's kind of the thing as well. I just felt really calm and relaxed the whole
Yeah.
time. I wasn't stressing because I knew my baby was coming. I knew I was in good hands. So I think um and I'll say that's probably later as well, but the fact that I was in my home and having a home birth, it made the whole difference for this birth 100%. Because had I been in a hospital setting, it would have been such a different story, no doubt.
Did
Um,
you take the melatonin and the painkiller?
yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And I was able to get that like awake sleep. So I was able to get some rest. It wasn't really sleep, but it was rest, I guess.
Yeah.
And something I should mention is that during the pregnancy, I developed carpal tunnel syndrome, and the midwife had suggested to go do some acupuncture sections.
Yeah.
So I did the acupuncture, and I had 3 sessions, and that was fantastic, and it worked. Didn't need anything more. Um, and then when labor was kind of like stalling, she suggested doing acupuncture. So I got in touch with the person that I had seen previously. And because it was the weekend, I knew it was like very slim chances. And the Saturday, she said that she couldn't see me because she had a workshop that day. And I had emailed that, I think on Sunday morning, I emailed again asking if I could see her. And when I woke up around 1 p.m., she had replied and said that she could take me and she could see me at 1:30. So it was just like fantastic timing. I took an Uber and went to the clinic. It was only like a 5-minute drive. My partner was finally sleeping because he was also having up for a few nights with me. So I didn't want to wake him up. So I took the Uber and I had a session with the acupuncturist. And I decided to walk back home because it's only like a 20-minute walk. So I was like, yeah, the exercise is good to get things moving as well. So I got home. I also had a good nap as well when I got back. So I had like an hour nap, and I woke up because I was contracting, and I was contracting hard. And so acupuncture did its work. And I should mention as well that during the walk back, I was talking to my aunt in Chile, and she's an energetic healer. So she was looking after my biofield, and she was cleaning everything that was in the way and telling me that everything was looking good and that I should definitely surrender to the feminine energy, and that uh, there wasn't anything like stopping the birth in itself. So
Did you feel like there was anything subconsciously like stopping anything when your aunt said that to you? Did anything happen or
no,
no?
when after the first night, she did a cleaning, and she said there was a little bit of guilt receding, languishing there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting because I I didn't feel that way at all. Like I think it's probably so subconsciously ingrained in us that we don't even notice it. But
Mhm.
because I had done so much preparation for it, like I was really in a mental space, like, no, this is the right way for me.
Yeah.
That it was a bit surprising when she said there was a bit of guilt.
Mm.
Um, I yeah, I did protect my space and energy in the sense I did not tell people I was doing a home birth. I only told the few selected ones. I didn't even tell my parents for so long. I only told them because obviously I was doing a home birth and they live here, so
Yes, yeah. That makes sense.
they knew what was going to happen. And, um, yeah, so
After the nap, you got woken up by these strong
the
contractions.
constructions.
Yeah.
And yes, they started very frequent, very hard, and I got to the point that I wasn't able to cope or breathe anymore between contractions. So that's when I asked my partner, my mom, to heat up the water in the pool. And as soon as I went into the pool, it was just like, oh, this is heaven, this is bliss. It's just such a relief, isn't it? The water is just fantastic, and my body was able to relax, and between contractions, I was just floating. And I definitely got into that whole birth zone space because I closed my eyes and I don't even know how many hours pass. And I would just open my eyes and I would see the midwife, I would see the birth photographer, I would see the second midwife, and that was kind of it. So I was contracting, and I won't say the contractions were not painful because they were. Like I could feel I wanted to just like my crawl out of my skin. But as soon as they were gone, I was fine. So I was able to cope, and the midwives were also helping me cope because they would tell me like, loosen your shoulders, you're holding on tension, and yeah, they were fantastic. My partner was holding my hand. He was like dropping water on my back, and yeah, that part was great. um, then I remember hitting transition because I had to throw up, and it was a big change because I hadn't thrown up in the whole pregnancy. So I was like, oh, I feel sick, and I had to throw up. And then I had like this big clarity moment where the colors kind of came in back in the room. Um, and not long after that, I started having contractions again, but they were different. And I could tell the difference. These were like pushing contractions. And during the contractions, I I think I was resisting a bit, and then the midwife noticed, and she asked me, why are you not pushing?" And she's like, "Good." And in my head, it's because I don't want to push. Like I want this baby to be breathed out of me, kind of thing. So I again, I guess it's like the overload of information as well is the overload switch. I did not want to push because I knew pushing was what causes pelvic damage, pelvic floor damage. So uh, I was resisting that part, and the midwife was like, "No, you need to go with it. You need to help your baby get in the position for it to actually be able to like eject as you want it." So yeah, I started pushing, and a long time passed. So um, I think maybe 2 hours or so after I started pushing, the midwife suggested that I get out of the pool and try to do somewhat different positions. So we tried absolutely everything. They put me in the couch, they put me in the birth stool, they put me in the chair. I was like against the kitchen counter, like everything that they could think of, we tried. And yeah, they wasn't getting a lot of progress. Um, I cannot remember exactly in which point of all of this they asked to do an exam again. So they check, and they didn't mention anything at all about dilation. They just checked the baby position, and the second midwife was the one that was doing this, and she was actually able to rotate the baby's bum because bum was hitting against my pelvis, and that's why baby wasn't descending.
Great.
So
well, it's
she
not
was able
great
to.
that was happening, but it's great that they were able to
assist.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So she was able to like move the baby a little bit, and after that, that's when we started again seeing a lot of progress. And at this point as well, like it got confirmed that baby was breech because before we didn't really know for sure. And the midwife had to go through my birth choices again. So she asked me, "Do you want to transfer to a hospital?" I was like, "No way, no. We're staying here. We're keeping doing." And she was telling me, "Okay, but you need to show me that you're able to push this baby out." So, yeah, fire in the belly, I guess, and started pushing as best as I could. And it was hard work because my contractions were not helping at all. Like the contraction would come in, but it even from the beginning, I wasn't really feeling the pushing force with the contraction. So I felt that I was the one doing the pushing.
Did you ever hear about this when, we hear these things about birth, right? But when it comes to breech birth, the pushing is actually a lot different to if we had a baby that's head down, because the uterus can't push down in the same way that it would if a baby was head down. Did they kind of explain that to you through the pregnancy?
Yes, I kind of knew that, but I knew that was only for the head part. I didn't realize it was for the whole body.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it is a little bit different with breech. Um, a girlfriend of mine's had a breech as well, and when she explained it, I mean, you wouldn't know because I haven't had a breech, but you don't know when you're having your first baby, or anything going with this thing, and you're in your logical mind probably at this point thinking this is different than what I thought.
Yes. I yeah, I remember just thinking that I was having to do a lot of the pushing, and I just
Yeah,
that's kind of what I was thinking, and it got to like that kind of purple pushing stages at some
yeah,
point as well.
yeah,
So um they were trying everything. They were like doing the acupressure points. My partner was playing with my nipples. They were putting the was it clove sage, the oil, essential oils on my nose, and um yeah, nothing. I mean, there was progress, but it wasn't like as quick as you would expect it to, or like as good as you would want it to be, especially after that much time, I guess. So the final suggestion was to go to the bed. So we moved to the bed, and I had like one midwife in each leg, like pushing my legs up. My partner was behind me. And for some reason, that was what my body wanted, because there was so much progress after that. So, yes, they baby started coming down, and we could see it because we had the mirror. So I was able to see that. And I, at some point, yeah, they asked me if I needed to go to the toilet because it'd been a while, I guess. So tried to go to the toilet. I couldn't wee, so they put a catheter, and yeah, immediately it came out, and a lot of progress after that as well. So yes, we got to the point that baby was ramping, and it was doing that very annoying thing. It was just like in and out, in and out, and I was just losing it. I was so tired at that point, at that stage. And I think like one of the most funny things that happened during this birth is that I was at some when baby was like out and then came in again. I was like, "Oh, you asshole!" Came out, and my partner's like, "Did you just call our baby an asshole?" And it's like, "Well, that's all I can see." So yes, right.
yeah. You're just frustrated at that point. Come on, get out of there.
Absolutely. So,
It
yes,
sounds like
just
it was a pretty like it wasn't a very stressful experience. You were having a bit of a laugh.
yeah, oh yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Like yes, we were like super calm. The midwives were super reassuring the whole time. They kept
yeah,
telling me, "Baby, it's fine. You're fine. There's no issues at all. We're doing this." Um, and at, nevertheless, at some point, midwife looks at me and says, "Barbara, baby needs to come out in the next push. Yes or yes." So um, I don't know, just gathering strength from whoever knows where, and biggest push of my life. And she finally came out. And because I was in the bed, gravity wasn't in her favor. So the midwife had to do a few maneuvers. So she released the feet, mostly so that they wouldn't tear. Um, and then her hands were not crossing her shoulders; they were crossing in her face. So the midwife had to do the rotation of side to side to get the hands out, and then the little shoulder press to get the head out as well. And all of this was in like less than 30 seconds or 1 minute. So it was so quick. And yeah, as soon as she's born, they put her on my chest, and it was fantastic. She needed a bit of oxygen. She was fine. Her upgrade score was fine, but she needed a little bit of help just to come to life. And again, it wasn't anything scary because it's something that I was aware of, something that they had told me. Especially breech babies do take a little bit longer to like breathe on their own. Um, but she was so chill, and like we could tell she was relaxing. She was like blinking and breathing and moving. So they had the oxygen mask on her while she was on my chest, and they were like rigorously like drying her with the towels and whatnot. But again, all of it in my chest. She never had to move, and um, emergency services wasn't necessary. So they told the ambulance that they could go. I didn't even realize they were outside. I just and I guess that's also the beauty of it. Um, and yeah, like after that, after a few minutes, she didn't need any more oxygen, and she was really good. I did needed the Cinto shot pretty much as soon as she was born because a huge gush of blood came with her. And because my uterus was bogus at that point, the midwives was like, no, I had to get the Cinto shot. Yeah, she was born at 3:30, so it had been almost more than 5 hours of pushing. So the midwife gave me the Cinto shot. Placenta came out a few minutes later, so the midwife asked me to push, and the placenta came out. We stayed in bed. We were chilling. My toddler was waiting with my mom in the stairs, and I think they've been up for a few hours just waiting for her to be born. So just like a few minutes after she was born, he was in my bed with us. So it was so lovely. I really appreciate that aspect of the birth. Then I think my partner was having skin to skin with her, or I was trying to get food. She wasn't on me. I can remember, like, the whole thing is a bit blurry at that stage, but she wasn't on me, and I started to feel really, really bad. It wasn't just like I'm tired. I'm feeling bad. I told the midwife, and she started like palpating my belly and my uterus, and she pushed down, and a huge gush of blood again, and urine came out. And she gave me another shot. At that point, she gave me 2 shots. I think one was like the anti-nausea medication for the one. And yes, after she did that, I started. It was immediate. Like, I felt like my energy came back at that stage. And yeah, she said that the blood was kind of pooling up in my uterus instead of coming down, and that's why I was feeling sick. So after that, I went to had a little shower, and then went back to bed and settled. Little one was a fantastic feeder. She had no issues at all. She latched immediately, and she started drinking, and ever since then, she's been a really good eater. So she's almost 9 months now, and she is a food machine. It's insane.
Loves the food, does she?
Oh, yes, she does.
Oh, that's good. How big was she born?
Funnily enough, she was almost copy paste from my first one. So my first one was 53 centimeters, 3.4. She was 53 centimeters, 3.6.
Wow, they're similar.
So yeah. The postpartum with this baby was really good as well. My battery is going low, so hopefully we'll be able to stay. I think I mentioned it before. My partner became a full-time parent, so he's been with me the whole time as well. So postpartum was very supported once more. And not just because of him, also because my circle of friends, we all have babies in similar age. I have a friend our babies were born one day apart. So yes. And the health, the support from them has also been incredible. So having your village, I guess, it's definitely what makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and hopefully your parents are helpful as well living there.
Yes and no, they are, but they have to work, so they're not always available.
Yeah,
so
that makes it hard. Yeah, I say that without assumptions, because I know everyone has different experiences, and and if people are working, they can't be there, can they?
No, really. And it is one of those things. Like, yeah, it's fantastic they're here, especially because of the language and cultural aspect. Because my toddler, for example, he's fully bilingual, and I absolutely love that. And it's 100% because of my parents, right?
Yeah.
But it's also you're living with your parents.
Yeah. It's an experience. Was there anything else you'd like to share with everyone who's listening who might be planning a vaginal birth after cesarean or a breech birth?
again, information is power. Hazel Keto will be your best friend for the information that you need for a VBAC. VBACs are 100% safe. There's nothing that should deter you from having one. Breech Without Borders, the videos on their website are fantastic. Like there is so much free information as well. Like there's so many videos, and you will understand the mechanisms of breech birth, and seeing the videos and seeing my birth baby, it was fantastic because I could see each stage happening. Like it happened in 2 seconds, but I could kind of see it as well. So yeah, that was great. And yes, definitely find people you feel comfortable with. If you want to VBAC, if you want to breech birth, especially, you don't have to birth at home, but you will need a doula or a private midwife, because navigating the system is unfortunately not that easy.
Yeah, it's challenging, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your birth stories with us. I'm so grateful that you have shared your stories, and I've enjoyed listening to them.
Thank you so much. And something else I would add is that this podcast was definitely my priority. I listened to so many stories and that was what gave me the confidence as well. So thank you so much for your work.
So glad. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the women who have shared their stories just like you today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you for tuning in to the VBAC Homebirth Stories podcast. I hope today's story inspired you to trust your body, own your choices, and embrace the power of birth. If you loved this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mama who needs to hear this. Do you have a VBAC homebirth story to share? I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on ashleywinning.com or on Insta at ashleylwinning. Until next time, take care and trust your body.